sure they'd let us use it. They're not up there themselves this year. Oh, but I can't tell David that. I'll have to tell him that they are there and want us to join them.
But why?
Well, there's something you don't understand, Uncle Charles. You see, this barrier in David's mind even closes me out. I doubt that he'd go if he thought we were going to be alone.
Oh, Carol, child.
It's all right.
You really love him, don't you, Carol?
Mm-hmm. I do. That's why I'm going to find a way to bring him back to me.
Hello, Johnny. Jeanette. Hello.
Oh, gee, that's funny. Maybe they misunderstood and drove into the village to meet us.
No, they didn't, David. The McIntyres aren't up here.
But you said...
I know I did, dear. I lied because I was afraid you might not have come. Oh, don't be angry, David, please. This is so important for you to get completely away. We can have fun together, darling. We can hike and hunt and... Oh, you love to swim so. And, well, you can practically dive into the lake from your bedroom window.
You're trying to say that up here we can forget.
No, David. From now on, we stop trying to forget. I've been wrong, and I know it. We both have. Beginning today, we're going to talk things out.
We can.
Oh, we can, and we will. That's the one way we can ever hope to break down the wall between us, David. The only way. Uncle Charles was so right. Facing the problem is the only answer. David and I talked for hours last night, and I finally realized that there were two convictions in his mind that made him feel guilty. The first is that he broke a divine law by taking a human life. Second, that he was the cause of lifelong grief to Mrs. Parker, the widow of the man killed in the accident. I still don't know what to do about the first fixation, but I've thought of a possible answer to the second. I wrote a letter this morning David, I've got something.
Oh, it's a strike. Quick, honey, quick, reel it in. Get the hook fast in his mouth.
But I can't. The reel's stuck. Oh, here, you do it.
Hey, look out, look out.
Oh.
Well, he's gone. Never mind the fish. Look, you be careful. A girl who can't swim has no business falling in a lake as deep as this one.
I'm afraid you're right.
Here's your rod.
Thanks. David,
Huh?
when I drove into the village this morning, I got a letter. I want to read it to you.
Yes?
It's from Mrs. Parker.
Mrs. Parker?
Listen, David. Listen to what she said. My dear Mrs. Marshall, I won't pretend this is an easy letter to write. It's not. But I do want to help with your problem. First of all, you can tell your husband that as I look back now, I realize George was at least partly responsible for the accident. He was driving too fast himself. As for my having accused your husband of murder, I'm sure you realize how hysteria can lead one to say such things. If my forgiveness means anything to Mr. Marshall, he most certainly has it. I could never say that I don't miss George, but it seems that life has a way of adjusting itself. I have found happiness again myself, and my only wish is that you and your husband will do the same. Very sincerely.
You wrote to her.
Of course I did. Oh, don't you see, dear? After this letter, you can't go on accusing yourself of ruining her life. She says herself that you haven't.
And suppose that's true. There's still one thing that neither of us can ever wipe out. I took a human life, Carol. There's no forgiveness for that, no recompense. And we may as well admit, darling, there never can be. No use, Carol. There's no life for you with a murderer. I killed a man.
I know the best game of all to play. It's murder.
I didn't kiss you when I came in, just now. We're different people.
You've got to talk it out with him, Carol.
I've taken a life. That's something neither of us can wipe out.
You're his one hope, Carol. Perhaps his only hope.
Careful, Carol. Careful in the boat. A girl who can't swim has no business falling in the lake as deep as this one.
I can't swim.
A girl who can't swim.
I can't swim.
A girl who can't swim. A girl who can't swim. A girl who can't swim.
It's early morning. A dream woke me up just a moment ago. No, perhaps it was more than a dream. Anyway, I think now I see the answer for David and for me. The lake is deep as this one. David? David? Are you awake? Hello, in the cabin there. David?
Carol? Carol, what are you doing in that boat? Sit down.
I'm going for a swim.
Carol!
I've always heard that was the best way to learn. Dive in where it's deep and swim to shore. So here goes.
No, wait! Carol!
Carol, I flew up at once, as soon as David wired.
Oh, you needn't have. I'm all right now. I just tried to drink the whole lake at one gulp, that's all.
David told me. He said you were out completely by the time he got you. Carol, how did this happen? You didn't...
Where's David?
Well, he said he'd bring my bags from the car.
Uncle Charles, you said I might find the solution up here. I think I have. But you mustn't ever tell him that I... Oh.
Your things are in your room, Uncle Charles.
Oh, thank you.
And incidentally, aren't you anxious to start unpacking?
What? Oh, that's fine treatment for a guest.
Oh, you're not a guest, you're a relative. And I want to talk to my wife.
Well, never let it be said that I couldn't take a hint.
David, what hospitality.
Oh, never mind him. How do you feel?
Wonderful.
Good. Then we're leaving tomorrow, back to town. I've got to get back to work.
Oh, David, darling.
Hello, Mrs. Marshall. Oh, gee, you gave me an awful scare.
Oh, it's so good to be in your arms again.
It's over, Carol.
Is it, David? Now can you really forget?
No, but I can see things as they are. And it came to me as I was driving in to meet Uncle Charles. Suppose a person had taken a life in an accident as I did. Well, then if that same person saved a life, wouldn't that sort of even things?
Well, of course it would.
You know, I'm surprised you didn't figure it out and tell me about it. Didn't you realize it?
No, David, I didn't, but... Well, then, I'm just a woman, and women never seem to see things quite as clearly as the men they love.
So the curtain falls on Act 2 of With All My Love. Our star, Ruth Warwick, will return for a curtain call immediately following these important words from your announcer. That was a fine job, Ruth. How does it feel to be back in radio?
Well, just like home, C.P. Radio was my profession before I went into pictures, you know, and I love it.
Yes, Ruth. Actually, it was during a press party for radio people, wasn't it, when you got your first chance at pictures?
That's right. It was at a party given for Orson Welles in New York. I met him that night. Screen test was arranged, and he put me in Citizen Kane.
And a neat double play that was, Ruth. An important part for you in one of the most talked-of pictures ever to be made, and at the same time, a tribute to Mr. Welles for some excellent foresight. And after your arrival in New York, you just decided to stay and enjoy the adventure of the big city.
That's right. But then, after all, being a direct descendant of Daniel Boone, adventure's in my blood.
Well, it would seem that your career has just been one grand adventure, and one which has just begun. But your fine talents as a violinist and a pianist are going to waste. Aren't you going to pursue that line of your career anymore?
Well, only as a hobby.
You see, I like being an actress. Well, thanks, BP, for everything. It was fun doing the show for you, and my compliments to you and the sponsor for a really fine product.
Thank you, Ruth, for the compliment on behalf of both our sponsor and myself. And now, before you leave, I want to tell you about our show next week. Next week, Ruth and ladies and gentlemen, the popular screen actor Alan Curtis visits with you as our star in a delightful comedy. Alan becomes a very naive young actor without a job, but with an idea. All he needs is $20,000 and a job as a Hollywood star without any acting ability, of course. How Hollywood accepts him is our story. You'll enjoy his adventures, so join us next week for a full half hour of fun with Alan Curtis. Until then, this is C.P. McGregor saying thanks for listening and cheerio from Hollywood.